Brace yourselves, America. What we witnessed in Baltimore on Tuesday morning was not just a tragic accident. It was a devastating blow to the very heart of our nation's infrastructure. The shocking collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge has sent shockwaves through the city and beyond, leaving a trail of destruction and chaos in its wake. But as the dust settles and the full scope of this disaster comes into focus, a chilling question emerges. Was this a deliberate act of sabotage? With the Port of Baltimore crippled, supply chains thrown into disarray, and the city's economy teetering on the brink, the stakes could not be higher. In this special report, we'll take you beyond the headlines and into the depths of this unfolding crisis. The revelations we've uncovered will leave you stunned and questioning everything you thought you knew. So don't miss my final thought, and trust me, you don't want to. And just like the Francis Scott Key Bridge was a vital lifeline for Baltimore's economy, our health is the foundation upon which we build our lives. And just as excess belly fat can put pressure on our body's most vital organs, the bridge collapse has put immense strain on the city's infrastructure. But there is hope. Just as this amazing new substance can help break down fat and support weight management, Baltimore must now find innovative solutions to rebuild and recover. And just like you can get 51% off this incredible product at trimwithgary.com, the city must seize every opportunity to come back stronger than ever. So don't wait until it's too late. Take action now for your health and for the future. Now, the images of the cargo ship colliding with the bridge, sending it crumbling into the river, are nothing short of horrifying. The cause of the collision remains a mystery, but one thing is clear: the consequences will be felt far and wide. Let's take a look at this animation of the moment it happened.
With the tug stood down, Darley continued following the channel outbound, lining up for the main span under the Key Bridge, which is the only place large enough for these sort of massive vessels to fit under. She continued to increase speed, reaching around 8.7 knots by 1:26 just before the bridge. But then something went wrong. She started turning to starboard, just around the same point where the Curtis Bay Channel joins the main channel. But why? Were there some interactive effects maybe? For example, if your starboard bow is no longer subject to pressure from a bank, it could cause a turn to starboard. If that did happen though, the ship's bridge is full of professionals who are more than capable of correcting it with some engine and rudder movements, so was there something else stopping them? If, for example, the ship suffered some sort of power failure at that point, you would expect it to veer off under the effects of interaction at exactly the position where the underwater profile of the channel changes, like where another channel joins from the side. Either way, regardless of a reason for leaving the channel, at that point the crew knew there was a serious problem. The tugs that had been stood down from the earlier manoeuvre sprang back to life and started heading back towards the Darley at full speed. But, unfortunately, it was just too late. She was now so close to the bridge and carrying so much momentum that there was nothing anyone could do. At 1:29 local time on the 26th of March, she struck the southern tower, which just didn't stand a chance against more than 100,000 tons of vessel and cargo travelling at 7.5 knots. The collapse of the southern tower led to the collapse of spans on both sides of the river, which in turn led to the collapse of further spans as the chain reaction travelled along the bridge. 15 minutes later, at 1:43, the first tug arrived on scene, but by then the damage was already done. From that point on, the priority was search and recovery.
15 minutes for the tugs to return. Now, as social media users were quick to point out, the Port of Baltimore is a crucial hub for both Baltimore and Washington, D.C. With the bridge collapsed and the ships being blocked, the economic fallout will be immense. Combat correspondent Michael Yan, he called it an economic nuke strike. Maritime historian Sal Murcielago noted that the port is now effectively closed, but the economic impact is just the beginning. The human toll of this disaster is heartbreaking. At least 6 construction workers are still missing. 5 vehicles, including 3 passenger cars, have been spotted underwater. 2 crew members were rescued, but one is in very serious condition. The loss of life is a tragedy beyond measure. Now, the collapse of the bridge will send shockwaves through supply chains across the nation. A CBS Evening News report, the cost of the shipping goods will skyrocket, adding hundreds of dollars to each truckload. Products will take longer to reach customers, and the economic impact will be felt by everyone. Now, take a look at this CBS News report.
Operating officer.
It's going to add probably a couple $100 minimum to every truckload.
Each truckload carrying everything from dry goods like food to reams of paper and office machinery.
What's your warning to consumers?
Your product might take a little longer to get to you.
The Port of Baltimore is one of 3 ports along the East Coast that are at least 50 feet deep and can handle large ships like the Dali. It's the U.S.'s busiest port for cars, trucks, and sugar, handling more than $80 billion in goods last year, employing more than 15,000 jobs.
There is no question that this will be a major and protracted impact to supply chains.
Amazon, FedEx, and other multinationals tell CBS News they're still assessing the economic impact.
The best case for the port in terms of getting it to be working again is probably about a month.
And worst case scenario?
You're looking at a minimum of a year, and I'd be surprised if it's not 2 years.
And before the Port of Baltimore can reopen, authorities first need to remove all of the debris and then re-dredge that part of the river. But Nora, there's no timeline at all for when that might happen.
Now, clearing the debris and dredging the river to reopen the port will be a monumental task. Experts estimate it could take anywhere from a month to 2 years to get the port fully operational again. But perhaps the most chilling aspect of the disaster is the possibility that it was no accident at all. Investigative reporter Laura Logan, she's made a startling claim suggesting that the bridge's collapse was a deliberate attack on our nation's critical infrastructure. And according to Logan's sources, the attack was likely carried out through cyber means, targeting the bridge's load-bearing pylons to maximize damage. Now, the timing of the incident during a full moon and the location chosen to limit the ship's maneuverability also raises red flags. Now, if Logan's claims are true, this was a meticulously planned attack designed to cripple a vital supply chain and divide our nation along the Mason-Dixon line. Now, the implications of such an attack are staggering. It would mean that our infrastructure is vulnerable, our enemies are bold, and the consequences could be catastrophic. As the investigation into the cause of the collapse continues, we must confront the terrifying possibility that this was not an isolated incident, but a harbinger of things to come. In the meantime, the people of Baltimore are left to pick up the pieces. The economic fallout will be felt for years to come, and the scars on the city's landscape and psyche may never fully heal. But if there's one thing we know about the American spirit, it's that we are resilient. We've faced challenges before, and we've always emerged stronger. So as we move forward, we must remain vigilant. We must invest in the security and resilience of our infrastructure, both physical and digital. We must stand together as one republic, united in our determination to protect our way of life, and we must never forget the lives lost and the sacrifices made in the face of this tragedy. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. Now, my fellow Americans, the devastation that we've witnessed on Baltimore on Tuesday morning serve as a chilling reminder of the fragility of our infrastructure. The collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge has not only claimed lives and left families in mourning, but also dealt a crippling blow to the city's economy and the national supply chain. As we grapple with the aftermath of this disaster, we must ask ourselves tough questions about the resilience of our critical infrastructure. While the cause of the collapse remains under investigation, we cannot ignore the chilling possibility that the scenario could be orchestrated by those who wish to do us harm. So moving forward, we must prioritize the safety and security of our bridges, ports, and transportation networks. Only by investing in our infrastructure and remaining vigilant can we hope to prevent future tragedies and safeguard the well-being of our great republic. Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. Now keep up your quest for truth with this next news report. And if you found our channel enlightening, join the millions who agree with you. Tap subscribe. Thank you for watching the Next News Network.